3, 2, 1.
Greetings, viewers. Zach here. Got another one of those world-building workshop videos for you. It's that show where I take one of the world-building templates that we build on our Twitch streams on Wednesdays, and I kind of, recap them for you, for any, writers or GMs out there that are looking to make their own game world. So, here's a creepy one for today for you. As always, I want to send out a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Ko-fi, like Alec, Rainweaver, TJ, and KJ. So again, as always, thank you all for your support and those lovely coffee donations. And as always, using the Pathways rule system from Cortex Prime, we end up making charts like this one. And it's my job to make heads or tails of this for you. Alright, so this game takes place in a maximum security space station prison, where the space station travels at the forefront of space in order to allow the prisoners to be used as, I suppose, slave labor in the forward frontier colonies of colonization. However, whatever solar system they have currently gone to is a little weird, and has caused the engine, which is comprised of souls of those who died before they were able to pay off their prison dues, my god, and is now allowing the beings that are within the engine to now escape and possess people, cadavers, experiments, and inanimate objects. So lots of sentient items and weapons and tools around for your players to discover in this game world. When we were building the station itself, which is a huge part of the main chart, we really wanted to focus on at least 4 main building blocks for the GMs or writers to work with. We kind of added in a couple of items to kind of help with this as well. Key cards were a big one. Key cards are kind of there in a way to build, if you are the kind of DM or writer that's really wanting to build dungeons or puzzles akin to that of like The Legend of Zelda or something like that. Key cards are a way to help you lock down areas and reward players for exploration or things of that nature. Lock behind things you don't want them to find or want them to work hard to get at. As well as we also added in oxygen, a very rare resource when you're out in the middle of space, to kind of help add a bit of tension to those exploratory outings. On top of that, we also have 4 major environments that you can kind of build almost like a Metroid-esque environment with the lapping dungeons throughout your space station. Chambers of worship would be your safe zones in the environment until the later stages of the game, in which they start shutting down for whatever reason. It's up to the DM or the writer to worry about this one. Next, we have service floors. This is where you find your hydroponics, food processing, anything that kind of needs repair, and is where you're likely going to find the majority of the enemy units and explorations and reasons why you have to go out and do things out throughout the entire game. Next one we have is the solitary confinement area. The cool thing we kind of played around with this one is that this would be like a series of rotating blocks, kind of like the chamber The Cube, or the movie The Cube, where you can kind of have a changing dungeon of similarly shaped and interesting environments that have traps and things like that. But we also played an interesting idea where prisoners could start the game knowing that this is a potential way out of the station, as these solitary confinement chambers have an eject function in case they have a pesky prisoner they gotta get off of the station somehow. So you won't have any control of where the pod goes once it leaves the station, but maybe that's one of the routes you can take to get off of the station. Lastly, we have the laboratory areas. These are the areas where you will find more powerful monsters and some of the greater rewards, as that's where things are being experimented on. As well, you can also hide in an optional secondary route of exit for your players. Perhaps they can find that there is a small capacity shuttle where it has few people that can fit on it. Interesting tension options you can provide there, but you can control the method of escape once you are on that vessel. So, who's on board? Well, that's kind of up to you. We've got 2 primary categories of NPCs that the players can also pick from these pools as well. We'll get more into details on that in the gameplay options. However, when dealing with these, you're looking at staffers, those that kind of like run and operate the station, and you have the prisoners. And then anyone that dies from either of these categories can be possessed by the spirits that are inhabiting the station. Next, you have all the monsters, the possessed individuals. But these possessions can also occur with some of the weird creatures that are being experimented on from the laboratories, as well as any corpses or cadavers that the scientists would have been working on. We've also got a number of sentient items where you can have ranging from absolutely crazy criminals that have possessed guns to those criminals that maybe just had whatever kind of lesser series of crimes that they could have possessed, and now you have a relatively peaceful criminal in the shape of some kind of inspirational amulet. I don't know, it's up to you. Lastly, we have the AI. We assume that the AI running the station is ultimately what is being affected by the strange happenings and readings in this star system, and it's perhaps through her manipulation, or its manipulation, that it is allowing the souls to escape and possess things to begin with. You can even run into some hardcore modes where you actually have the AI actually turning the station against the players and really manipulating ways for them to lose and die by the end. One of the plot threads that we were playing with is the idea of, if you need to add even more tension to the game, that perhaps the AI running the station has some kind of self-destruct or destructive to some nature countdown happening. Maybe the station is a weapon that's going to go off, or it will self-destruct. I don't know, something to add a little bit more tension to your game. Gameplay. We've got 6 classes here. Now you got 3 for your staffers and 3 for your prisoners. For your staffers, you've got the service individuals. The service staff are those that can kind of help make medical packs, can create food, and maybe even be a bard and sing music to a degree if you want to add that to your game somehow. But these are your, general staffers. Your wardens are your ranged combatants. They'll actually probably start the game off with access to small arms, if not having small arms on them, and you could probably give them a key card or 2 to help with some of the dungeons. And our third are the scientists. These are your intelligence class that know a great deal about the enemies that are roaming around the station, as well as probably access to creation and use of biochemicals, if you will, maybe. Our 3 prisoner classes include the con man, your charisma-based character. These are probably the criminals that are there and don't really get their hands dirty directly and kind of convince others to do stuff for them. Your brawlers would be your melee combatants, the big burly ones. And then you've got your hackers, the kind of criminals that can actually probably manipulate the dungeon and hack your way through the station, and that's probably why they're even here to begin with. Our last gameplay topic is about how we decided to structure the game itself, as we kind of talked about it being in a bit of a module format. So there's 3 primary options for you guys today. Option number 1, a small module. This option includes the idea of one of the 2 primary methods of escape for whatever players survive at the end, either through the ejection pods, and you can leave it up to, hope to God they find you, or the shuttle, where either, hope they find you, or option 2 or 1A. 1B, alternate suggestion for how you end option 1. Another option is that perhaps the shuttle could be picked up, the pod could be found, or the shuttle homes in on a beacon and goes to a separate location. You can end it with a bit of one of those traditional horror cliffhangers where they arrive at this new location thinking they've been saved and realize that they're in a place worse off than where they left. Cliffhanger. Option 2 is to completely scrap the prisoner idea altogether and actually be a roaming band of scavengers or even repair technicians that have arrived to this worse off version of the station and then try and realize that, this is too far gone, we gotta get out of here as soon as conceivably possible, and try and escape this horrifying contraption of a station. This worse off version of the station would end up having bits of organic components being the station converted into some kind of organic structure, just to add that extra creepy factor. Option number 3 would be to continue option 1, where your players now have to escape this second, much more terrifying and organic converted version of the space station they just left. One of the coolest ideas that we had for this is that the GMs lay some kind of breadcrumbs throughout the campaign that not only have they not left the station, this is the same station, just worse and worse and worse. Should they escape a second time, well then you go through and do it all again. Leave behind maybe that whatever door they unlocked the first time is unlocked the second, third, and fourth time that they show up. Just things to remind them that there is no way out if you really want to go the cosmic horror route. The only way to truly complete the module is to either die outright or destroy the station. Those are my suggestions anyway. And that's it! Without trying to get into naming something that falls under copyright, I think Hell Station. Hey, it's a good way to name. No one's really taken that one yet. Should be fine. Dead Space though. And that's it. Thank you all for your support again, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube goodness. And since you're here, why not go visit our Ko-fi page. If you want a keychain, we have a Call of Cthulhu keychain that's there now. We've even got stickers if that's your kind of cup of tea, or if you feel like just throwing us a cup of coffee. I'm not going to say no to that. That's a great idea. Otherwise, I'm going to see you guys at least on Wednesday, where we stream on Twitch every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Our next World Building Wednesday is this Wednesday, and I'll see you then. As always, enjoy the world.